What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gab Lim. And
Sando is
wearing the
back!
Boleros cap, Mr. Mauyap. Wala ka ng sakit, Gab.
Wala na sakit, pwede na
Wala na.
magsando.
Pwede na mag full-on Sando.
Sakit lang
The jacket
makakigil
was
kay Gab.
short-lived. Sakit
The
lang
jacket
ang...
was short-lived.
Actually, kahit nung may sakit si Gab, nakasando pa rin siya sa ilalim, Maui. Akala ko wala nang sando eh. Pero he's sticking to the bit.
It
Sultan
was
of Sando.
a hard week. Daming sakit na nangyari sa akin, but I am fully recovered and ready to talk about basketball.
There's a lot of basketball to talk about. I think there are a lot of interesting stories in the NBA this week. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to do a 2-round draft of probably the most interesting, the most feel-good stories of the NBA this week. Gab, I love this. I love this idea that you came up with. I think there's a lot of negativity around lately. A lot of bad news or sad news for some people.
Yeah.
So
all around the world and in our country in particular, I'm sure there are a lot. Wars, corruption,
oil prices.
My golly. So there's a lot of sad things and negative things going around. So let's try to spread some positive things here on Boleros. So maraming negativity din sa NBA, maraming mga hindi magandang news, aspiration. But but we want to spread good news. Talk about some nice things. Let's talk about some nice things.
Na-resolve
All
na
right.
Terry Rozier scandal, di ba? I mean, the NBA did their part.
Ulul.
We shall find out.
Aspiration.
So, let's get started. So, nag-randomizer kami before doing this episode. Maui, you are going first. Gab next. I'll take the last pick and then siguro let's do reversed after that. So, Maui, let's start with your first feel-good story of the NBA.
Yeah, I think one of my feel-good stories this past season is definitely not from this week, but in general, Jason Tatum and DeJounte Murray coming back successfully so far. Fingers crossed so far from that Achilles injury. I think si Kevin Durant really provided that blueprint. I think si Damian Lillard and we also have si Tyrese Haliburton looking to come back maybe next year. I think it's a feel-good story for me because during the early 2000s, ang ACL injury was the one that was a career-threatening injury. I think this Achilles tear has been career-threatening injuries. Players like DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson haven't come back the same. But it's pretty good to see, especially since yung young gun, the two young guns are the ones that I hope si Lillard comes back still good, winning that 3-point championship pala also. So that was a positive during All-Star weekend. But yeah, I hope that medicine has progressed enough that our the players that we love to watch, me in particular, Murray is very close to heart because I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan, and si Tatum is one of my favorite players. So I'm pretty happy that actually very ironic because I like all the four players I mentioned who tore their ACL: Haliburton, Lillard, Tatum, and Murray. So I'm pretty happy that finally we're getting players who are getting back quite early and still being productive, still having that that sense of resemblance of being themselves pre-injury. I think a lot of, if you go through Twitter or X a lot, you see a lot of infographics on Achilles tears the past few seasons, especially last year, and it's refreshing to see that players like Tatum, players like DeJounte Murray have been to a certain degree fully healed, and I'm excited to see what happens to Boston since they are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference and now they get Jason Tatum back from injury. Who would have thought, diba? So it's a feel-good story for me, definitely.
I like that pick. I think si Tatum was was had one of the shortest recoveries also. Not the shortest, but I think top 3 shortest recoveries. I remember parang 6 months in, they were showing videos of him dunking already or something like that. So, um, it is a feel good story, and I had that on my list, Maui.
I had that on my list too, Maui. And great minds think alike. Ito talaga si Maui. But yeah, I had that on my list as one of the feel good stories of the past 2 weeks actually. And right timing, because I think DeJounte Murray in their last game 2 days ago had his best game. I think 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Was back to his, I guess, his old self. He was
May
flexing
stare
over
down
the.
pa.
Oh, hindi nga stare down sa amin. Nag-flex down on Jamal's shed. Diba? Diba? He flexed
That's
down.
true.
He was screaming at yung at Jamal's shed after making a jumper and breaking it. Well, quote unquote breaking his ankles. He did kind of trip over, I think DeJounte's foot or something. But yeah, I love this. I don't think he's lost a step, to be honest. Watching DeJounte Murray, he's been back for 7 games. I think he scored in double figures in all 7 of his games. He's rested in some back to backs, but when I watch him play, he's looked good, and he's part of a Pelicans team that cannot tank. So they're trying to win. They're playing all of their guys. They are competitive. They've won. I think they're 9-7 in their last 16 games. So they have a winning record in their last 16 games. So and to be honest, if you watch the Pelicans games, they're pretty entertaining because amidst all of the teams that are tanking, they're one of the teams that are keeping it competitive, and they're playing their guys, and they're playing hard. They're playing their stars. So I love that pick, DeJounte Murray. Kay Jason Tatum, I watched his first game back. It was a bit rusty to start off the game. Was missing a ton of shots. At lahat ng Celtics fans in attendance were just holding their breath until he could finally make his first shot. Pero every single shot was bricking. Well, there's rust involved. He hadn't played in
Understandable. Yeah.
oh, understandable. He hadn't played in months, but second half he looked like the Jason Tatum of old, and I was happy to see that. Again, I think medicine has progressed. I'm happy to see that they can come back from such a devastating injury and just show that they can go back to their old form. And I hope my fear is compensation injuries. Since he's trying to compensate for some weakness or maybe some pain or maybe something in his injured leg, and he'll try to compensate with other parts of his body. So I hope nothing like that happens to these two guys. So it makes me wonder if the Pacers were ever competitive, would we have seen Tyrese Halliburton back this season? If the Blazers were in the playoff race, well, they are sort of in the play-in race, but if they were better than expected, would we have seen Damian Lillard back soon also? So
Baka hindi
I hope
warranted. Yung stretch ng Milwaukee.
Let's not talk about Maui. Ano tayo? Positive vibes tayo. Huwag tayo punta sa
Positive
Bucks.
nga, Maui.
Positive feel good stories tayo. The Bucks are the total opposite of that. If you watch the Bucks, you know how bad they are. But yeah, I love it. I think he rested in the game a while ago against the Thunder, si Jason Tatum. But as the game goes on, as the games go on, I do think he'll get back to his old form, which makes me siguro as a tangent. I had the Boston Celtics as one of my picks, and since you picked Jason Tatum, are the Celtics the favorites in the East? Sige, you both are nodding your heads. Sammy, let's go to you. Kasi Jason Tatum's back. They were the second place team, the second best team in the East without him. He's back now. He looks good. Are you picking them to make it?
Nako, yun yung ace
I
back mo, Gab.
I I really think it's unfair. This was supposed to be a down year for the Celtics. We were all expecting that. They lost Jason Tatum. They traded away or gave up a ton of guys. Uh it was supposed to be a year na they would just save money for the team, yung cap space, reduce some of that salary burden, but they've maintained yung winning ways nila. They're number 2 in the East, and now Jason Tatum is back. I think it's unfair. I think they are a legit threat, not just in the East, but as a championship contender, as long as we get a healthy Jason Tatum. But I do want to give credit to the Detroit Pistons. I think they've been really good this season, and I think the number 1 seed or rank right now is deserved. Although, actually, medyo nagtatatalo sila lately, but I do think the Pistons are legit or are really good. Siguro the only advantage the Celtics have is yung playoff experience nila. The Pistons don't have that, and they have a
So answer the
relatively young group.
question. Are they the favorites? 7-game series, Eastern Conference Finals, Pistons versus Celtics. Are you picking the Celtics? Because to answer this question, I am picking the Celtics. I love the Pistons, but as Jason Tatum continues to warm up and gets back to his
Yeah.
old form, I don't think the Pistons can beat the Celtics. That's my opinion. So Sammy, gun to your head, 7-game series, Pistons or Celtics?
Give me the Pistons. Give me the Pistons. Let's go. Let's go,
Wow!
Detroit.
Wow,
Let's
wow,
go.
wow.
Let's
Wow!
go.
Okay. Maui, go ahead.
Ako I have this certain bias for Boston also, but I have to go with Boston. But I'm not even sure if it's gonna be the Pistons who make it to the conference finals. The Knicks and the Cavaliers have also started to streak. I think the record of the Cavaliers with Harden and Mitchell on the floor is crazy. And the Knicks are starting to. Si Karl Anthony Towns has been one of the best players post All-Star break. Anything can happen. And I think that's the top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference are probably the only really great teams. I don't know, maybe the Miami Heat when we talk about maybe if we talk about it later, but I think Miami Heat could be a dark horse team. I mean, they've made the finals as an 8 seed. They've outperformed in despite being a play-in team in numerous seasons. And but yeah, if you told me the Pistons versus the Celtics, definitely the Celtics. But I'm not even certain that Detroit is ready to get to the conference finals. They've struggled after the All-Star break.
I agree, Maui. Actually, baka nga they might not make it to the out of the first round. If they face a team like Miami or the Hornets, those are like 2 of the hottest teams right now. So I really want the Hornets and the Pistons in the first round. I think that would be an interesting matchup. Yeah, go ahead, Gap. I think you're next.
Well, sakto. I don't think I can't believe he dropped to number 2 in our draft. But Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points, I think has to be a feel good story. Now there's a lot of conversation about this game. I personally did not watch the whole game because it was the Wizards. I don't like watching the Wizards because they suck. So, but yeah, when Bleacher Report kept on coming in my phone and saying, "Oh, Baba's 31 after 1 quarter," he had how many points did he have after the half? Like
43.
43, and he was at 60, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he can do this. He can get to 70. He might actually reach Kobe. Then I tuned in for the fourth quarter. Now the fourth quarter, I think that's where the controversy kind of happened because, to be honest, it was an ugly fourth quarter. The Heat were fouling to get the ball back to to their side so that the Wizards don't waste time. The Wizards, after 3.5 quarters of not playing defense or playing just single coverage on Bam Adebayo, who had scored already 60 points, decided to finally, okay, may konting pride naman tayo as a team. Mag-triple team tayo kay Bam Adebayo. Diba? They were
Parang
doing
American
everything.
football.
Diba? Sobrang grabe sila. Parang, okay, you've been not trying to stop this guy for 3.5 quarters, and then finally you're trying to do it, and then they were fouling other players to just not try to get the Bam to score. I think see Brian Keefe, who's the coach of the Wizards, said afterwards that he didn't like the way Bam got his 83. And I think it's kind of poetic that I make this pick because I'm a Kobe fan. Kobe's my favorite player of all time. I have a poster of him in my room. Well, in my former room. Now it's my wife's and my wife and I's room. So natanggal si Kobe. But but I think it should be celebrated. I mean, it's hard to get to 83 points. And it's first of all, you have to hit so many shots. You have to hit so many free throws. You have to have insane stamina just to take that many shots. So I know a lot of people, a lot of fellow Kobe fans are pretty angry with this. Now, it's not legit. He was playing against the Wizards who weren't trying to win. It was a blowout game from the start. You know, why was he even playing in the fourth? Whatever excuse, it was ugly in the fourth. They were just trying to feed him the ball, to force feed him to get the ball back all the time. There's a lot of the discussion around this, but I think it should be celebrated. It's just kind of weird to see Bam Adebayo's name in the in the single game scorers list. You know, you think of Devin Booker is there, Donovan Mitchell scores
Anthony
70.
Edwards, Luka
Anthony-
Doncic.
You
Mas easy
you think
mo
of
pa sila eh.
Yeah, Bam's a defensive player and he's more of a distributor of an offensive player. I think his career average before this game was 16 points per game. So he wasn't even averaging 20 points per game for his career, and he was the one to score 83. So that's weird, but he got hot. If you watch this from the first quarter, you up to the third quarter, he was just really hot. Now the defense with the Wizards is nothing to talk to point out. I mean, it's barely anything. They were barely playing their guys. So, but yeah, I love it. I was pretty happy. Coach Spo was pretty happy for him, and he was willing to give it to Bam. That's the other part. Because if you guys remember, there are old school coaches who wouldn't do this. You know, the game was in hand. I'm sure some coaches would have pulled Bam after the third quarter. I do remember a game where Kobe scored 63 after 3 quarters, and he outscored the entire Dallas Mavericks. And then Coach Phil Jackson just didn't put him back in the fourth quarter because they were up by a considerable margin. Coach Mo could have easily pulled Bam, but I think to celebrate Bam and to see how hot he got from the start of this game and doing it in front of the home crowd, I think was a pretty solid move for Coach Po. And I'm pretty happy for Bam Adebayo. There's a lot of debate. I don't agree with it. I am a Kobe fan. I don't think we should say it's unethical, disparage the fact that he scored 83 points. And to those Kobe fans who defend Kobe, if you watch that 81-point game, they were also force-feeding Kobe in the fourth quarter. When the game was already in hand, they were up by a considerable margin already in the fourth quarter when they were trying to get Kobe to how many points he scored. So it's not like it was a pretty close game all throughout against the Raptors when Kobe scored his 81. So get off Bam's case. I mean, he deserves the praise. He's up there in the Mount Rushmore of of scorers, of single
It's
game
so weird.
scorers in NBA. It's weird. It's weird, but it happened. It happened on a random March night in the NBA. And so kudos to you, Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, I agree. Kasi this would have been my top pick also. Bam scoring 83 points. I don't think anyone had an NBA player score 80 plus points in their bingo cards this year. Much less Bam Adebayo. Much more Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points and breaking Kobe's record to be second all time in the scoring record, single game scoring record. I think what makes this even better, yung pagiging feel good story nito is, number one, it was in Miami. His mom was there watching, and his girlfriend, si Aja Wilson, was also there, and
They
it
had a
was
great post game press
they
con.
correct. So it was actually quite a weird post game conference kasi he had Aja Wilson beside him, 'di ba? It's usually like your coach or a teammate or whatever, but it was good that it was Aja Wilson because you get to like um hear Bam and Aja talk about how they inspire each other. And I think like na-mention ni Bam, Aja got mad because she missed yung 10,000 career point milestone niya a few weeks ago. She just got back. This is the first game that she got to watch again, and he scores 83 points. So, what a night for Bam for his family. So, yun yung dagdag sa feel good. And it's Bam, 'di ba? Like he's he's Mr. Miami Heat now. He's the face of that franchise. So, it's nice to see someone like him score a record like that in front of Alonzo Mourning also, I think. Mourning was also there, one of the best Heat centers also. Maui.
Ang
Yeah,
ganda nung so sorry
go
Maui.
ahead,
Ang,
Cap.
ang ganda nung cut to video when I think he was getting his 80 and 81st point. Na umiiyak yung nanay ni Bam. And I think if you know the backstory, you know, he was raised by a single mother. They were not that well off. You know, she had to raise Bam on her own. And to see that and to witness your son um, get history. Literally he is in the pantheon of NBA scorers right now. So that I think was a special moment, and I was very happy for Bam's mom. Sige, Maui, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Kasi you wouldn't expect this, di ba, from a guy like Bam Adebayo, who as we mentioned, is a two-way player and is known more as a team player and a defensive menace, not as an offensive guy. But his work on his three-point shot, he hit a lot of three-point shot. Kahit yung free throws niya during this game, which was a record, I think the attempted and made free throws were a record for this game. It's crazy to see him score 83 points. This is actually the fifth time in 3 years that we've seen a player score more than 70. So I think the question is, will we ever see 100 in our lifetime? Because we didn't see that. We are old dogs now. We've seen two players score 80 points. Kobe and now Bam. We've seen numerous players score 60, a handful to score 70. I think anything is possible with the way the NBA is playing right now, with the pace, with players shooting free throws at the highest clip, with players shooting 3 points, so many 3 pointers, and with all the hate, I just want to say it's 83 points. It's 83 points, man. Chandler Parsons actually said it correctly. If it's that easy, then why has Luka or why hasn't Ant-Man scored 83? And I think that's an accomplishment. Even the 100-point game of Will Chamberlain was a blowout when he was going for 100. Diba? As Gab mentioned, some tidbits from that Kobe game a few decades ago. And it's crazy, diba? They would be crazy to not go for more than 81 during that night when Bam had that chance. I think he had 77 or 70 plus with still 9 minutes to go. And it's just a bit unfortunate that it ended that way. Very unusual. Both teams intentionally fouling themselves. Bam Adebayo getting triple team in the backcourt. It was fun. It was fun for me actually kasi it wasn't something that you see on a random march, as Sammy said. But 83 is 83. Give Bam his flowers. I mean, this is probably one of his biggest milestones. Outside those Olympic medals.
It's just funny that the second leading scorer was Simone Fontecchio with 18 points. So
18? Yeah.
18. So I don't know if this is correct, but Simone Fontecchio and Bam Adebayo scored more than Kobe and Smush Parker. Remember from the 81-point game, the second leading scorer I think was Smush Parker with 12, 13 points. I do remember that. So I think they're the only duo in NBA history to score 100 points in a single game. Bam Adebayo and Simone Fontecchio.
That's the weirdest
Diba?
duo.
Sobrang weird. Sobrang weird. They scored 101 points. The both of them, Simone Fontecchio and Bam Adebayo. Simone Fontecchio is now etched in NBA history.
Sunerte din si Bam because Hero wasn't there, Powell wasn't there, and then they were
Diba,
playing
Sammy,
against the
he was
Wizards,
playing with
diba?
scrubs.
Like,
Diba? The
who
first
else is
quarter,
going to get the ball? Bam! Bam is like the best player.
he was
Clearly
playing with
the
Drew
best player.
Smith, si Kasparas, si Yak Jonas, their rookie, si Kishad Johnson, who won the slam dunk contest but was a bench warmer.
Who?
Uy, magaling siya.
Diba?
Magaling yun, ha?
So talagang he was playing with scrubs and they were just trying to force feed him the ball. Even si Larson was not in the game, who was their starter. Diba? So this is, it was funny how it ended, but the start and even the middle, yeah, you had to give him his flowers. And also, Bam, practice your free throws. If you had made your 7 that you missed, you could have had 90.
90.
You missed 7 free throws, bro. Come on. Practice your
Pagod
free
na, Gab.
throws.
Oh, in fairness, pwede pa sila tumulak noon. I think Bam Adebayo sat down with more than a minute to go.
Oh yeah,
So,
actually he did. Yung when he finally passed Kobe, then he was subbed out. And well, I think Coach Poe yung wanted him to get the standing ovation in naman for what he did. But he definitely could have stayed in the game and then scored more. Just to pat it on.
Okay, moving on. Sige. Actually, I get back-to-back picks pala. So, okay, I'm going with... those are my top 2 picks, actually. Bam and Jason Tatum. I have an obvious pick, but I'm going with another pick. The East is back. That's my feel-good story of the past week. Or for the season, actually. Because I think we've talked about, first of all, we've talked about the Charlotte Hornets, how they've been the best team in the NBA since 2026, since the start of the year. We've talked about how they're healthy now and how good their rookies are and how they complement each other. We've talked about that. And I really, really hope that they make it to the playoffs, that they face the Detroit Pistons in the first round. But I think it's also worth mentioning the other teams. And I think what's his name? John Schumann from NBA.com wrote an article about this, how the East has been winning against the West. And I think we all know, ever since nung bata tayo, Gab and Maui, the West has always been better than the East. Most of the time, the West will be better than the East. But I think this is like as of right now, it's like their third or fourth best performance against versus the West in the past like 30 years, something like that. That was like the stat that Schumann was talking about. And yung other than the Hornets, the East teams that have been hot the past few weeks are surprising teams, I think. We talked about the Miami Heat. They've won, I think, 7 in a row or 6 in a row. 7. So they've been a surprising team.
Atlanta,
The other
8.
team, Yeah, so the other team that was I was gonna mention the Atlanta Hawks. The resurgent Atlanta Hawks after the trade deadline has looked good. Gab, you talked about DeJounte Murray. Sorry, Pelicans pala yun. How Atlanta has looked good. The other team na 6 games or more winning streak, Orlando Magic, which I think we expected a lot from them. They've been very disappointing um, the whole season. They've had a ton of injuries. I think they're starting to get healthy and they're starting to look good. So those three teams, they have the longest winning streak so far. The only other team that has 6 games or more na winning streak are the OKC Thunder, which has won 7 in a row, and then the Spurs is the only other team that has won at least 8 of their last 10 sa West. But in the East, it's Orlando, Atlanta, Miami. They've won at least 6 games in a row. Charlotte has won 8 of their last 10 in a row. So I'm all for this because I'm a fan of like underdogs. I want the East to beat the West. So and I like seeing these underdog teams or these lower seeded teams surprise or get hot in the tail end of the season. Kasi honestly, like March is kind of boring if you're talking about the NBA or even end of Feb. Kasi most of the time it's like tanking teams. Okay, tank pa more or probably teams at the top who are probably resting a ton of their guys. So to see teams in the middle or at the bottom competing, looking good, I'm all for it.
Yeah, ang ganda ng pick mo, Sam. I think because I want to say that usually during March, the draw when it comes to American basketball is really March Madness, di ba? But
True, true.
now, I think si Gab would agree that we've had so many banger games the past few week or so, which we don't usually get this late in the season. Just a game a while ago, yung Boston versus OKC was a pretty good game. I thought that was a playoff atmosphere. And I think you picking the East, I think this is one of the first times probably since the NBA instituted the play-in that the play-in teams actually have a winning record. Nabaliktad because now in the West, the play-in teams don't have a 500 or a winning record, and it seems like well, one can argue that the Western Conference playoff chase, especially for that home court advantage, is crazy. But I think this is one of the first times that it is also crazy for the Eastern Conference, diba? I mean, the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Knicks, who, I mean, maybe the Knicks or the Cavs, who we thought would have been shoe-ins as number 1 and 2 seeds, are not yet guaranteed, diba, a home court advantage. And anything can happen. Orlando and Miami is knocking on the door of a home court advantage. And even Toronto is close. So that's good. It's actually connected to my next feel good story.
I love the East pick, Sam. And sabi nga ni Maui, if you look at NBA League Pass on a daily basis, mapipili mo yung games eh. Because alam mo naman yung teams na walang pakialam kung manalo sila o hindi. I mean, they're teams who want to lose.
Right, right.
So, it's easy to pick because there are now just 20? I think you could say 20. There are locked in 20 teams already that are gonna make quote unquote the playoffs plus the play-in. Diba? If you look at the West, after the Trailblazers, I don't think maabutan na sila ng Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are tanking. Grabe, if you watch the Grizzlies, oh my goodness, who are they playing? It's the same thing in the East. We talked about the Bucks a while ago, and the vibes are not good. Giannis doesn't seem to like what he's doing right now, and I don't think they can catch the Hornets. We're at 10, so locked in 20 teams, and if any of those 20 teams match up, I think it's a good bet that it's gonna be a good game because each of these 20 teams are good. Especially those in the East. Who would have thought lahat ng 10 teams sa East in the playoff / play-in are good teams. So yung Philadelphia lang siguro because of the injuries right now are a bit, I don't know.
They were good
They,
for a time. Nagkaroon lang ng injuries ulit. No?
yeah. I mean, when everything was going smoothly, when everyone was playing, si Maxi, Embiid, but now that they've been skinned of their top players, it's kind of bad. But yeah, most of the time, these 10 teams in the East, when you watch them, they're trying to compete and they're competing hard, and you love watching that. On a daily basis. Sige, Sam, you go to your next pick. You're back to back.
Okay. Um, I think this is a controversial pick. But I do think you guys will agree because I'm going to pick Mr. KL2 Aspire himself, Kawhi Leonard, as a feel good story for this year. And yung off court issues is another thing, but
It's not controversial. I had him on the list, but I had the Clippers on the list. So we'll talk about the Clippers.
He's literally controversial. That's what I meant. That's why I called it a controversial pick. That's why I feel like you would agree here. I think Kawhi and the Clippers, tama ka Gab, is a feel good story of the season. I think Kawhi is right now he's scoring his career high, 28 points per game. So that's crazy for me because the past few seasons, parang he was barely playing most of the time because of injuries and load management. So the fact na he's getting his career high at this year, 2026, 2025, 2026 is crazy to me. Speaking of load management, he's on pace. He's on track to make it to 65 plus games, I think. So it's his longest. He might be able to play the most games he's played since 2016. Can you imagine that? Since 2016, that's like almost 10 years ago. Well, basically 10 years ago, diba? So, again, that's something that I did not expect from Kawhi Leonard. Why I'm rooting for him and the Clippers, Gab, we all know that pick is going to the OKC Thunder, and I do not want the Thunder to pick another lottery type of player. So, Kawhi, have yourself an MVP season. Make it to the playoffs. I don't care. Darius Garland, please stay healthy, please. So I think for the Clippers, Gab, if you're going to talk about them, I won't talk about Darius Garland. But yeah, Kawhi for me is a feel-good story on the court. On the court.
Yeah, I had the Clippers as one of the feel-good stories. I think they're above 500 for the first time this season, which is crazy because they started the season 6-21.
6-21.
NBA record. Highest games. Diba, highest games below 500 to get back to 500 in the same season.
Diba?
15 games.
That is great. And to add to the fact that they had to trade Zubats and James Harden away. So they had to retool their entire roster and still they're back to 500 and they're in a winning record and they're back in the playoff race. For Clippers fans, this is definitely a feel-good story. And I think just this week, they got back in above 500 via a 45-point game by Kawhi Leonard. And it's kind of bittersweet to me because in Maui's fantasy league, I was about to draft Kawhi Leonard. And then he drafted it literally one round, a few picks before me. And it's a Roto league and he got a good season out of Kawhi. Sobrang bad trip ako. Itong si Maui yun ako si Kawhi above me. But yeah, when Kawhi is on, I love watching Kawhi because it's like a surgeon. He's very surgical when it comes to the offensive end because it doesn't rely on extreme athleticism. It doesn't rely on. He's a very slow player. He doesn't rely on a ton of speed. He relies a lot on his strength, his very improved ball handling, and his pretty wet jump shot. Diba? If you look at his jump shot from when he entered the NBA, it's very different what from how he's shooting it now. It's sobrang smooth ng kanyang jump shot, especially from the mid-range. And you know me, Sam, I live and die by the mid-range jump shot. Diba?
Yeah.
That's been my game
Mr.
since high school.
Mid-range.
Since high school, yeah, I live in the mid-range, diba? So I love watching Kawhi. I love when he's on, and this past game against the Timberwolves, he was on. He couldn't miss. He was taking anyone one on one, just pulling up from the mid range, you giving anyone the bag. And I actually, if you watch the Clippers, they're pretty fun. Their style of play has changed dramatically from
Especially with
uh,
Garland, no?
yeah, especially with Garland and Mathurin, yung coming off the bench. Well, Garland starting now, but with that group, that younger core na ngayon, diba? That their younger players, when they're on the court together, they play fast. Very different from when they had James Harden and Ivica Zubac. They were playing really slow, a lot of pick and roll, half court offense. Because I think they were the oldest team in the NBA, and we were somehow forgot that Bradley Beal is still on this roster. So despite being injured, he is still on this roster. So dramatic change for the Clippers and for the Clippers fans. Style of play, how hard they're playing. Remember, they're now playing Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders, young guys, just for that change of pace. When Kawhi is in the game slows down. They operate a lot through Kawhi, but when Kawhi is out, they run. They pick up the pace. They pick up the pace and they just work hard defensively. They trap. They dig in defensively. They force a lot of turnovers. So the Clippers have become a fun team. So that's something I did not think I would be saying when the season started, because they were horrible to start the season.
Sorry,
Yeah,
one last before Maui. I think underrated higher than si Jeff Van Gundy as their defensive coach. Underrated for me. I love Jeff Van Gundy as a coach.
tell that to Chris Paul.
Yeah, I think what's lost in this storyline of the resurgence of the Clippers is actually there's hope for this franchise. Diba? If you told me 2 months ago, I think we did an episode on the Clippers for our Disney Plus sponsorship, and during that time we didn't see any hope because they were about to lose their lottery pick. Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders were not playing well. Even si Niederhauser, they didn't discover could be a good player. Sorry that he got injured, but now they have a good core, a young core with Garland, Mathurin, Kobe Sanders, Miller, Niederhauser. Mix it up with their veterans, and they could potentially get that Indiana pick, and they could also retain their own pick. So it's getting crazy. Diba, it's there's finally some hope for this Clippers team. All the curse, all the off-court drama, I think si Ty Lue is a very underrated coach. Being able to, even the Harden drama, di ba? Right in the middle of them getting all that momentum. I think si Coach Ty is a very underrated coach for being able to weather the storm, and get them to this place. And they're a dangerous team. To be honest, if I don't want to face them if I get them in the play-in or even in the first round of the playoffs. This Clippers team is dangerous. If Kawhi Leonard continues to be healthy, and as you said, Sam, if si Garland continues to be healthy, and si Mathurin has actually been the top bench scorer since the trade deadline. So I think it's averaging 20 since he got to the Clippers. So this team is very dangerous with all the wings. I love this team. Filled with wings.
Wow. Who would have thought? Just an additional note, I think if Kawhi plays majority of the remaining games, I think he's allowed to miss 3 more. Yung parang ganun. I think he'll make All NBA. I feel ko he has some bonuses attached to his contract. Kaya he's trying to make All NBA. Feel ko lang. I'm not really sure about that.
Pang ano rin yan, pang Supermax. Baka
Oh,
eventually.
diba? Yeah. If you make all NBA, you're gonna be eligible for a bigger contract. So yeah, I think that's why he's trying hard right now, and he's playing back to backs, which he hasn't done in years. He like invented
That's
load
true.
management for resting back to backs. Now he's playing in them, diba?
Kung kailan naging 35-year-old no? That's when he's starting
'Di
to
ba?
really peak. I think
'Di
it's it's
ba?
it's it's unheard of.
That's
But
so
yeah,
weird.
last thing lang, sorry. The Clippers are not keeping the 2026 pick. I made a mistake. Go ahead.
Wouldn't it be funny after talking about Kawhi and the Clippers as a feel-good story, yung pala hindi natin alam, nag-announce na si Adam Silver ng punishment ng Clippers and they lose like 3 first round picks. Kawhi gets suspended for the remaining of the year. That would be really funny kung biglang mag-announce si Adam
Wag mo
Silver
sabihin
right
yan sa
now
akin.
while we're
We're trying
recording.
to
Knock on
be
wood, knock on
positive
wood.
about the
knock,
Clippers. We're
knock
trying to
on
be
wood.
positive about the Clippers.
Maui,
Okay?
Maui. Let's move on. Let's move on. Ikaw,
I
ay,
think it's
sorry.
Gab.
No, it's
Gab,
my
Gab,
Gab's
Gab
pick.
turn.
pala. Gab pala, sorry.
It's my
Gab
pick.
muna.
So you guys kind of named a lot of my picks, but I did have one left, and it's the feel good story that I'm drafting is SGA possibly locking up his second straight MVP, and I love it because I fully watched both of their last two wins. This morning against the Boston Celtics and their last game against the Denver Nuggets. And I just love watching SGA work. Yes, does he fish for fouls? Yes, he does.
Yes.
Wait. Yes, he does.
Yes.
But when his mid range is on and when he's snaking through that defense, when he's creating space for himself, that sidestep three over Spencer Jones against the Nuggets, grabe, yung napataas na lang ako ng kamay. I was watching on my phone. I'm like, wow. The way this guy operates as a scorer is something I haven't seen since Kobe. Because he can get to his spot. That was one thing about Kobe, and I think if you look at all the interviews with the guys who played against him, they all talked about like Citation Prince. Just prevent him from make it hard for him to get to his spot, because if he gets to his spot, you better know that he's knocking it down, and that's the same thing with Shea. See, SGA, once he gets to that free throw line extended or somewhere within that range or even in the baseline, he's gonna knock down that mid range jump shot. And now it's kind of poetic. Now he's hitting threes to win games. Diba? That was supposed to be his Achilles heel, his weakness, that he couldn't shoot threes. He wasn't shooting a lot of threes. That's something
Mm-hmm.
that you could give him, but now he's hitting it. He's hitting game winners with threes. So I love it. I was rooting for Cade, but with the Pistons slump, sakto yung timing ng slump ng Pistons right now with the Thunder getting big wins via SGA's clutch shots. I think he has sealed it. I mean he plays nearly every game. He missed a couple of times with the abdominal strain, but I love watching him work. I think he sealed it with that game against the Nuggets. Even the game earlier, he hit clutch mid-range shot to give OKC the lead. It was answered by Jaylen Brown, and then eventually the free throws by Chet Holmgren to seal the win. But still, Shea, he should win Clutch Player of the Year. He should win MVP. He's been really good. And add to the fact the narrative, they have not been healthy. They haven't had Jalen Williams for majority of the season. They haven't had Isaiah Hartenstein for long stretches. They haven't been healthy. This is not their championship team, but still they are winning games just because of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't think they've lost since Shea came back. They haven't lost. I think they're 7-0 or 6-0.
7 straight wins.
Ever since SGA came back from his abdominal strain, they haven't lost. And that's with them being unhealthy. So that's how the narrative is there. The highlights are there. The stats are there. I think he's locked in to win his second straight MVP, and I'm happy for him. Again, I tell this story every time when the World Cup was happening here in Manila and there was Slovenia versus Canada. I got tickets. Everyone was there for Luka, but I was there for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander because even before he became MVP, I was a fan of how this guy played, and I'm happy just watching his games, watching exciting games on a daily basis for the Thunder whenever they go up against the top tier teams. And I hope we get a series Denver versus OKC. Again, they went
7 games.
Lock
The
it
best
in,
2
Maui.
words.
Diba?
In sports.
7 games. They're gonna go 7 games. They went to 7 games last season. Lock it in. They're go- if they meet in the playoffs, they're gonna go 7 games again. I want to see it. Let's go.
Maui, I think si Gab, did you mention the 20-point game scoring streak? I think si
Actually,
Maui, 'di ba, you talked about it sa chat din natin no.
Yeah, yun pala. Oh, ano. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah. Actually, yun yung ano ko, yun yung that was one of my picks for feel good stories. But my pick was supposed to be the 20-point streak of SGA. Now at 126 games, he has passed Will Chamberlain for that mark. We talk about KD, we talk about LeBron passing the all-time scoring mark, all the top scorers, Luka, Leonard throughout the years. They've never done this, not on this level. I think si KD is the one that holds the record for active players before SGA with 40 plus games. 127 games or 20 plus streaks. This was supposed to be, sabi mo nga, Gab, great minds think alike. But yeah, SGA has had such a fantastic season, and I think it's a bit crazy. I saw a stat like you talked about him also winning Clutch Player of the Year. The past few games has shown that. I think even the stats, it's a bit crazy with all the blowouts that OKC has had. He's been able to retain this streak, number one. And number two, he has the most clutch points in the NBA, despite that crazy start, despite them having all those blowouts. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, di ba? I think Cunningham Detroit has been struggling. So the Cunningham storyline has lacked its luster. And I don't think si Jokic can get the MVP because they've also struggled when he came back. They were a pretty good team when he was out and have struggled when he came back. I'll go with our last feel good story. And
Sorry,
to
Maui.
Maui.
Before you go to your last feel good story, just a note on SGA. Si Kawhi yung second longest streak right now na active for 20-point games. I think it's like 40 plus. Tama ka, I think. It's just also funny that we talked about Kawhi as a feel-good story and then SGA as a feel-good story. How those two guys are still interconnected somehow after Kawhi, essentially traded SGA away for PG-13. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
72 pala yung record ni KD as a 20-point scorer. So that was the previous record that we saw. Longest record. But yeah, my last feel-good story is connected to Sam's Isa's back. And yung stories ko, the ones that I chose are really close to my heart because I watch so many Boston games. I watch so many New Orleans games kasi they're fun to watch. I think Boston shoots a lot of three-pointers. New Orleans has always played fast. But my feel-good story is basically the Charlotte Hornets getting back as a playoff team. And added to that is the recognition that I think one of the best color commentators in the NBA, si Eric Collins, getting that Amazon Prime job. I think the rise of the Hornets have led to his rise also, and him and the color commentator of the Bulls, to me, are one of the top tier commentators because they really add excitement to watching the game.
Give me the hot sauce! Diba? Yun, diba?
Talunan kasi both teams eh.
Give me that hot sauce. I love that, Gab. And si Eric Collins is a guy that always ceases to amaze me yung reactions niya. And the Hornets are a fun team to watch. I think they've had the top 3-point scorers since January with LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Conconopel hitting so many 3-pointers. And they're a very, very dangerous team. And much like Sammy, I'm excited. Sana nga maging 8 seed ng Charlotte versus Detroit. So it's gonna be one of the top offenses versus one of the top defense in the NBA. So I think the Charlotte Hornets are our team to watch out for. And finally, because I think a lot of fans, there are a lot of LaMelo Ball fans, believe it or not. I think just in my family, a lot of people own a lot of LaMelo Ball memorabilia and even NBA cards because of just how exciting and crazy this guy is.
Even
Yeah.
kids, 6, 7.
Finally, the Hornets are back. Parang kailan ba yung last time na naging relevant sila? Si Stephen Jackson pa ata yun nung nag-playoff
Oh,
sila.
hindi naman. Yung nag-play-in
Hindi ba?
sila dati with Gordon Hayward, diba?
Oo, play-in.
They signed si Gordon Hayward, si Terry Rozier.
Pinapalabas mo age natin Stephen Jackson, Colin.
Grabe ka naman Stephen
Yung
Jackson.
orange Bobcats pa. Yung orange Bobcats jerseys.
Oh my God,
Yung-
yun yung bago pa.
Yung
Yeah.
when they
Period.
drafted Adam Morrison.
Yeah. That's the last time I remember them sa playoffs. Anyway, I think that's it for our draft. Baka lang, I guess like off the top of my head from my list, honorable mentions like Phoenix Suns. They've been surprising for me for a team that traded away Kevin Durant. They've been competitive. Dylan Brooks has been good, has been entertaining for me. So they were up there on my list. Anything else that you wanna add to the list, Gab, before we go?
The Lakers
Honorable
finally
mention.
beat good teams. That's a very recent feel-good story for my own sanity.
That's true, Minnesota. Oy.
And the Knicks, they beat the Knicks.
And the Knicks, and the Knicks.
They beat the Knicks. They blew out the Knicks. So, the Lakers can't beat good teams. Well, they beat some good teams recently. So, let's see. Are the Lakers better without LeBron? No, they won earlier with LeBron back. So, but are they better without LeBron?
Or without Ayton.
Oy,
Maraming ganyan. So, yeah, that's it for today's. Siyempre, talagang siningit natin yung Lakers. No? That's it for today's episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed the drafting of feel-good stories. Hope you come out of this podcast feeling good about yourself or your team. Pero kung hindi, stay tuned for more. We'll talk more about the NBA, the UAAP, Gilas. We'll cover all of them in this podcast. So if you haven't yet, please do like, share this video, subscribe to our channel. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Ingat.